What's going on, guys? In this video we're going to talk about everything you need to know about customizing watches. We're going to talk about how to make custom bezels, dials, how to ice out watches, where to get watches, and much more. Let's begin. Now we're going to talk about setting diamonds in a second, but before we do, there's a couple very important things you guys should know. The first thing you guys should know is that whenever you add any aftermarket diamonds to a watch, you automatically decrease the value of the watch. Second thing is if you guys want to add any custom parts such as a bezel or a dial, that can be taken out and replaced back with the original, so that's no problem. But setting stones into the case or bracelet is permanent and cannot be undone. So if you guys set diamonds into a gold Rolex watch and then take them out, you're basically going to have a bracelet with holes, and turning a Rolex bracelet into scrap gold is not a good idea. Now another thing is if you guys have a factory Rolex, you can always sell it. There's always a market value for it, even for pre-owned models. But if you have an iced out watch, you're going to have a hard time selling it if you don't have the customer. Another thing is if you guys add any aftermarket diamonds or parts to a Rolex watch, Rolex will not service the watch. You're going to have to get the watch serviced at a third-party service center. Also, if you guys add a custom bezel to a Rolex watch, the watch may no longer be waterproof, so be very careful with that. And one more thing, if you guys do decide to ice out watches, always use at least VS diamonds. Don't ever put cheap diamonds in the watch. Let's talk a little bit more about watches. If you guys are going to be icing out watches, you should not do it to new watches. You should only do it to pre-owned watches. The only time you should be icing out new watches is when you have a large inventory and you're a well-established business with a lot of clients. Now guys, don't go get a flooded Rolex and use you starting a jewelry business as a reason to do that. That's a silly rookie mistake. When you start your jewelry business, you want to make small, inexpensive pieces. You don't want to start with heavy chains and expensive watches. Alright guys, let's talk about how to get discounts on brand new watches. Since Rolex watches are the most popular watches to customize, let's talk about how to get those first. Like I just mentioned, you guys should start with pre-owned watches, but there are certain Rolex watches that you can get for cheap, starting at around $6,000. Let's talk about how to get them. Alright guys, all Rolex locations sell watches for pretty much the same price. So there are no ways you can get a Rolex watch under the retail price. A Rolex watch will cost approximately the same in LA as it does in New York. Also, there's no such thing as getting Rolexes for wholesale prices unless you're a store or an authorized Rolex dealer. Rolex has stores, the Rolex website, and they have official retailers, which are large watch stores that have a Rolex department in them. These are all official Rolex dealers. Regular jewelers cannot get Rolexes for wholesale prices. So one thing you guys have to watch out for is sometimes these jewelers will tell you that they have a Rolex for under retail, and you have to be careful because sometimes that could be a used watch, but in mint condition, and they might be selling it as new. But there are ways you guys can get discounts on Rolexes. Let's talk about that. The easiest way to get a discount is to buy the watch in a tax-free state such as Nevada. If you buy a $30,000 President, you will pay around 10% in tax depending on what state you're in. That's about $3,000 extra. So your total will be around $33,000. If you buy the watch in Vegas, there is no sales tax. You can either buy in person or have it next day shipped to you. Also, if you do buy a watch this way, be sure to put it on a 2% cashback credit card. That way you get around $600 cash back, so you save around $3,600. Another way to get discounts on new Rolexes is by buying in places like Cancun or the Caribbean islands. If you buy a Rolex from these places from the Rolex store, they will give you a 20% discount on any watch that is stainless steel or golden stainless steel and 10% off any solid gold watch. So if a day just costs you $10,000, you'll be paying $8,000 for it. If you get a $30,000 President, you'll be paying $27,000. Again, be sure to use a 2% cashback credit card. You can build connections with Rolex dealers this way to get discounts. Alright, check this out guys. We're going to select the Bezels 41. Click right here. Click configure. We're going to select it in 41 millimeters. We're going to click stainless steel, click select. So with the white gold bezel, it's going to cost $9,900. With the stainless steel bezel, it's going to cost $7,900. If we're going to ice out the watch, we're not going to need the bezel, and we're actually going to sell the bezel for a couple $100. Click select. We're going to choose the oyster bracelet. Here you can select the dial. Click on this one right here. And as you guys can see, it's going to cost $7,650. Click select. So this watch is going to cost us $7,650. So we're going to get a 20% discount on this watch. So it's going to cost us around $6,000. So here's the breakdown of how much we're going to save on the watch. Also, don't forget we can sell the bezel for a few $100s. But like I mentioned, you guys should not do this with new watches, especially when you're just starting out. When your business grows, you can slowly get into watches if that's what you want to do, and you should do this with used Rolexes. Rolex Presidents are the most popular watches, so let's talk about them. Rolex Presidents made before the year 2000 will have hollow bracelets, so they will stretch out much easier. Watches made after the year 2000 will have solid bracelets, which are much tougher. But I suggest you guys start out with older model Rolexes, which were made before the year 2000. These watches will look identical to new models. You guys should get older President models, which are the cheapest to buy, but you don't want to go too old. Rolex watches have different model numbers. The 1803 is the oldest President model. You want to avoid this watch even though it's the cheapest. This watch will have a thick sapphire crystal. It will have an Aldata clasp on the bracelet, which is not the crown that all newer models have. Also, this watch is single quickset, and you will not have a large variety of aftermarket dials. Most aftermarket dials are made for double quickset watches. The watch you guys should start with is the 180-38 model. Let's talk about how to get these watches. Alright guys, the way jewelers get these watches is they have a storefront, so when a customer comes in, They buy the watch for a few thousand less than what it's worth and then resell it for about 1,000 or two more. The thing is, you don't have a storefront, so you can't do it this way. So the best way for you to get these watches is on eBay.com. Let's go on eBay and see what these are going for right now. We're going to go on eBay.com and type in Rolex 18038. And here you guys can see these watches are going for around $11,000 right now, depending on the condition and also how much stretch the band has. The best way to get these for the lowest price is by bidding on auctions. People selling buy it now are resellers. The prices for buy it now will be higher because these are resellers and jewelers. eBay has a protection program, so your item is inspected and authenticated prior to you getting it. But still, whenever you guys get the item, make sure you inspect it to make sure everything is authentic. You can do this by taking it to any watch store. When buying the watch, make sure there aren't any aftermarket parts, and one of the most important things is to make sure the bracelet has little or no stretch. If a bracelet has stretch, the watch will cost significantly less. By the way, the bracelets can be repinned, but this can sometimes be expensive. Also, some watches are manufactured for different countries, so the date is not in English. Make sure you only buy watches that have English dates. Let's talk about customizing watches. The first way to customize watches is by making custom bezels. These are some of the best ways to customize watches because you can make a custom bezel and then you can always take it back out and replace it with the original factory bezel. The first thing you will do is find the watch repair guy in the jewelry district. Go there and have him take the original bezel off. You will pay around $20. Let's talk about how to make your own bezels. Bezels are made the same way any piece of jewelry is made. You will make the file in a 3D program with the stone size you want. The first thing you will do prior to making the bezel is to find out the bezel dimensions for that watch. You can then remake it in the 3D program and print the wax. I recommend you guys print the wax at a 3D wax printing place instead of your own 3D printer because there will be almost no shrinkage. If you print with your own printer, you will have to do some trial and error with resizing to make sure the fit is perfect. You will also have to use non-shrinking wax. You will then cast the piece in 18 karat gold just like the original watch. You will pay $1.50 on top of the spot price, as you guys know. You will then polish the watch and take it to the diamond setter to confirm what size diamonds to buy. You will then buy the diamonds. By the way guys, I have a video on how to buy wholesale diamonds for your jewelry business. You can check it out here. It's very easy. You will then take it to a diamond setter and you will pay $1 to set each stone because the holes and prongs are pre-made. You will then take the bezel to a polisher and pay around $20 to get it polished. After this, you will take the watch back to the watch person to take off the old bezel and replace it with a new bezel. If you don't plan to ice out the entire watch, you can sell the original factory bezel. The next thing you guys can do is get custom made dials. You guys can either set diamonds into the original dial or you can buy custom aftermarket dials. If you buy a custom aftermarket dial, these can also be replaced with the original anytime. If you want to customize the original dial, again, you will simply take it to the diamond setter, make sure he has experience in setting diamonds into watches, and you guys will pay $1.50 per stone. You guys can see this guy right here is trying to sell a dial which costs under $500 to make for over $2,000. These are very small stones, so these stones only cost a few dollars, so it's very cheap to do this. You will then pay $20 to polish the dial, and have the watch guy put it back into the watch. They will charge you around $20 to take it out and $20 to put it back in. You guys can get custom aftermarket dials with real diamonds in many different styles and colors on eBay for a few $100s. This is very popular, and whenever you guys see these crazy dials with colors that Rolex doesn't make, they're either customs or refinished. Let's talk about fully or partially icing out watches. The first thing you guys will do is take the watch to the watch guy and have them take everything apart. It's very important when you get the movement back to not touch the arrows. Be very careful and store the movement somewhere safe until you're ready to have the watch put back together. The watch guy will give you back the case, bezel, and bracelet, and you will take it to the diamond setter. Before having the setter do anything, you will make sure they have experience setting diamonds into watches. You want to make sure they do a nice clean job and don't ruin your watch. Also, if they're setting diamonds into stainless steel watches and mess up, you can't melt stainless steel like gold and fix it. So it's going to be a whole headache. So you have to make sure you're dealing with a setter who has experience and knows what he's doing. You will get the diamond sizes you need and the number of stones you need, and before giving them the watch, you will give them an extra link and have them set diamonds to test their work. If they do a good job, then you can give them the watch and have them ice it out. You will be paying them $1.50 to set each stone. Alright guys, now I'm going to show you the process of setting diamonds into watches. The way diamond setting works is the setter will place dots with a marker or make small scratches on the watch to know where to set the stones. First he will draw lines to make the borders, then he will drill holes, then he will drill diamond-shaped holes, then carve out the areas between the line to make the prongs. He will then set the stones and use a special tool to press on the prongs to make them smooth circles. After diamond setting is finished, you will inspect the piece to make sure no stones fell out, and then you will pay around $20 to have the entire watch polished. It's that simple, guys. Alright guys, so say for example we're going to ice out this AP watch. The first thing we're going to do is take it to the watch guy and have him take everything apart. We're then going to take the watch to the diamond setter and he's going to start marking where he's going to set the diamonds. He will then drill small holes, and after that he will drill special diamond shaped holes. He's going to do this on all parts of the watch including the buckle. He will then make the prongs and set the diamonds. After this he will smooth out the prongs and polish the piece and the watch is ready. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit the like button and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.